Loaded show, PHNX Cardinals live on a Wednesday. He's Brack. I'm Johnny Venerable. Welcome to your premier Arizona Cardinal podcast. Like and subscribe. Never has that been more important. Before the show, we just launched our exclusive ticket giveaway. If you're on the Twitter streets, check out PHNX_Cardinals Brack, because we are giving out not one, but two tickets, premier tickets to Ravens at Cardinals this Sunday at State Farm Stadium.
Yeah, could you be there for the season debut of Kyler Murray? We'll see. Full participant in practice. We'll get into the conversation. What's up, Jessica? What's up, JT? CWP was just live in studio now, joining the chat. Michael Tucker just saying K1. Yeah, let's talk about it. Let's talk about the Cardinals franchise quarterback back out there starting week 2 since returning from PUP. Still hasn't been activated yet. I thought leaving practice today, Johnny, that this team was poised to move forward Joshua Dobbs as quarterback 1. Now, no injury report was released. I only saw what I saw most of last week, which was the open portion of practice. Kyler Murray was on the south side of the field with, Joshua Dobbs and Clayton Tune and the starting wide receivers and tight ends on the north side throwing passes. Kyler Murray was throwing to the practice squad guys. So I was like, okay, ho-hum, status quo from last week. They just continue to ramp him up. But then I get to studio, I get the old injury report, and I see Kyler Murray is a full participant in Cardinals practice today.
Here's what I'm going to tell you. Here's what we're prepared to tell you on this podcast. Kyler Murray is sounding like he's pushing to play this weekend on Sunday. Do I think he's going to play, Bo? No, I do not. I think it's going to be another week of Joshua Dobbs, and that's disappointing, I know, for a lot of Cardinal fans. But what's pivotal is the next 2 days. I'm told a lot can change in the next 2 days. Maybe let's all reconvene, Friday's show and kind of see how things go, because we always kind of knew 2+ weeks, right, of this to ramp things up. And then they're kind of doing the wait and see game. I think Kyler Murray would need to show out completely above whatever Joshua Dobbs is doing, not like from a physical standpoint, because we know he throws a much better ball. He's a much better thrower of the football, but can he grasp the offensive schemes? Can he contextualize everything? Is he comfortable with Yelda Froholt? I'm told he looks great, and he really wants to play. And the Arizona Cardinals, again, are proceeding with the ultimate caution, just like they did with Garrett Williams. So I would love to sit here and tell everybody it's going to be this Sunday. I still think there's a chance that happens, more so than in Cleveland a week from Sunday. But as of right now, I mean, Kyler's got to force the issue in practice this week for that to happen.
Yeah, he's got to be borderline dominant, right?
Yeah.
And that's not unrealistic with what we've seen from Kyler Murray in his career. Obviously, he's coming off with the biggest layoff of his playing career that he's ever sustained, right? So you knock it off the rust there and you pick up a new offense. Obviously, what we've heard throughout this rehab process, what we've heard from Kyler Murray, the student, the guy in the classroom, the guy in the position group room, watching film, breaking things down off the field, he's been everything that they've wanted for and more, right? So can he apply that to the playing field right away? I think that's asking for a lot. Like this is a difference than last week with Budda Baker and like, hey, let's see how practice goes and let's see how his body holds up through 3 days of practice, and then we'll make a game time decision on Sunday. No, like I feel like we're still farther away from that point, way further away from that point than we were with Budda. But like I'm Lloyd Christmas here, but it's more realistic than with in Dumb and Dumber. Like you're saying, there's a chance there's more than like a sliver of chance that he can make his debut on Sunday. But I don't want to like give false hope to a fan base that is craving great quarterback play.
And that's what we're not going to do on this show, because you're going to see other reports here locally, people thinking there's a better than good chance he plays, or especially next week against Cleveland. Like I'm told they want to do it at home. And again, let's say if it was a road game this week and a home game next week, I think, and again, like a cupcake team in whatever that is, week 9, I think he'd have a much better chance. But like, there's a reason, folks, that the offseason is a buildup. It's a buildup of OTAs and training camp and mini camp, right? And offseason team activities. You work your way up to get to know your personnel, the scheme, the philosophy, and then it culminates in the preseason and the regular season. And that's a 6-month process. Kyler Murray, while he's been there and physically hasn't been able to participate. He's been taking in all the information. It's the first time he's done any team activities since Cliff Kingsbury is the head coach of this team, circa 2022 in December of last year, before he tore his ACL. So it's like we're trying to do this cram session with K1 in about 10 days. And it's different than Dobbs because Dobbs had an off season working with a professional football franchise on the field. Kyler Murray hadn't been doing that. So again, it's like you guys remember in school, you tried to, if you learn over 6 to 8 weeks, a period for your curriculum, and then you had a final exam, just imagine not doing any of that and trying to cram everything in over the course of like 2 to 3 days. That's what this is comparable to. And so while he is a much better quarterback than Joshua Dobbs, like no one is saying that. He's a much better athlete, throw the football, everything. I think he's got better footwork today than Joshua Dobbs has. But Joshua Dobbs has been taking snaps under center with Yelda Froholt for what, 7 weeks now? He's been working with the receivers. There's so much more. Like we could go into this game and he could play Bo and he could look fine physically and completely out of whack with regard to everything else you need to play this position, the hardest position to play in professional sports.
Right.
And everybody will be like, oh, you rushed him back too soon. And they don't want to have to do that because you can't go backwards at that point. You have to be 100% convinced that when he plays and he's ready to play up to his capabilities, which is Pro Bowl caliber quarterback play.
Is this gamesmanship? Is this competitive advantage? Are they ramping? Are they
probably?
Were they like, man, there's too many signs pointing to Joshua Dobbs and them staying the status quo at the quarterback position. Let's just kind of throw a little wrench into the Baltimore Ravens game planning. Like, John Harbaugh is not going to sit there and spend too much time watching Kyler Murray film because he knows, for the forefront of his mind that he's likely not going to play. They're not going to pull that trigger because, as you pointed out, like putting that cat back in that bag, it's tough. But like if they spend half hour a day and take away from what they've already put towards, the current Cardinals first team offense, like is that what they view as a W? If they just make John Harbaugh and the Baltimore Ravens think twice about who's starting at quarterback on Sunday, maybe they view that as a little competitive advantage dub.
If you're Baltimore and you've got a contending roster in the AFC and a team that's 1-6, albeit with, like, come on, I don't know if that matters. Here, I see everybody in the chat talking about Donnie and some other folks. I prefer a hurt Kyler over a healthy Dobbs. Like I think Kyler's healthy right now. I think it's just lack of experience. Like it literally is you're playing kind of trial by fire. You haven't played professional football since last December, and this is a whole new offense. Like, here's what I'll say. If this was Cliff Kingsbury's team, if this was Cliff Kingsbury's offense that he had mastered for 4 years, as shitty as that offensive, his philosophy was, I think there's a chance he'd be back by now. Because it's like riding a bike. I think where it really hurts the Cardinals, fair or not, is this is all new. And it's great long term because the Shanahan offense, it's plug and play, can make Brock Purdy look great. But like, it's not great to kind of learn on the fly. And again, like, they feel like there's going to be plenty of opportunities. I may disagree. You may disagree that they're going to have to evaluate him. But I know Kyler wants to play to make sure and remind everybody without a shadow of a doubt, like, I'm the guy here. This is my franchise. This is my quarterback room. If we continue to lose games, like, more doubt creeps in externally, internally. So the best way for us to contend and win is with number one under center for this franchise. No one can dispute that. But I mean, he is at the mercy right now of the coaching staff. And they I do believe wanted to work, expected to work with K1, but like, as much as we want to throw him out there, they're just not going to do that.
Well, I mean, because they know that they want to put him in the best case to succeed, right? They want to put him in the best position to be successful. And they know that with they know their personnel as well as the player itself. I really believe that when you look at the positions that they put all these players and all these people that you viewed as, oh, that's a special teamer coming on this roster. What's he going to do? Oh, that's a guy. He was like the eighth best defensive player on Philadelphia's defense last year. Like, what is he going to do for us? And you're seeing the impact, a Kazir White makes, or what they're able to do with Joshua Dobbs and put him in a position for success, or what they haven't done with Clayton Tune, where they've kept him out of the lineup because they know he could be in a overwhelming position that's not going to be conducive to him being a successful quarterback down the line. I'm sure they believe, like, yeah, Kyler Murray, just like Donnie's saying in the chat, is at 70% is a better quarterback than Joshua Dobbs. But what's the point of risking it in putting him in there where he's not up to speed and he's got to play catch up, probably for like, if you pull the trigger now, you're playing catch up probably for the next 3 to 5 weeks, where I think if you wait until Atlanta and you use those 2 weeks in between to prep, you can hit the ground running properly and put yourself in a position to be successful right out of the gates instead of trying to knock the rust off.
I want to dispel something. I'm not blaming KR Gordon 08 here because this is what's out there. But KR Gordon saying he told JG I'm practicing today, and JG said great, and he did say that in his press conference. Sounds like he only has to say I'm playing this weekend, and JG will let him. He will not let him. I'm going to tell you right now, the Cardinals, and we had this sourced on this podcast. Believe it or not, the weekend before, like Gannon and company, like assuming he checked all the boxes early in the week, they were going to open up his window well before when, like, they didn't just make that decision Wednesday.
Right.
Like Gannon and company said, like, okay, this is what we're going to do, Kyler. It's like when we talked about it, when we talked to him in the spring, he was like, Kyler's going to want to come back and we're going to have to rein it in with him. If it was up to Kyler Murray, folks, he would have never been put on the PUP list. He would have been part of active roster, practice squad, reps. They would have had a different route, but they said, Kyler Murray, this is what we're going to do. We did this, to some degree with Garrett Williams. We've got experience working with Jacoby Brissett and Deshaun Watson. Not similar, but, apples to oranges a little bit. Like, this is the Cardinals' plan. This is Austin Ford and Gannon's plan. And Kyler has input, but I'm going to tell us right now, like, Kyler Murray would play this weekend, I think, if they let him, but they're not ready to do that.
They want Kingsbury probably would have played week 1.
Right. They want him to have more time.
Right. Because it would be based on, keeping Cliff Kingsbury in the head coach position, and whoever the GM is at that time would have their wagon hitched to it, and they were like, okay, well, we go as he goes, and the only way that he goes is if he can play, and we'll put him out there. Where this organization knows, like, it's all about the process. It's all about getting the guy ready to play, and if he's not, this far in the process by now, he's not going to play. Like, we've seen that already in the short sample size of Jonathan Gannon, Monty Ossenfort era, that they're not going to just do something just because they feel like what they have in place isn't, getting and producing the results that they want. Like, they're big on, like, results. They know it's a results business, but they are a process driven organization. And if you don't properly do the process, then they're going to feel like they didn't do their job. And if it results in a loss, they'll take that, especially at this stage in the rebuild. And, like, I don't want this PHNX Cardinals, because we've hardly ever been like a wet blanket on this. Like what we root for is to see Kyler Murray come back and play at a high level. But, I guarantee you in the next couple days, you're going to hear some reports, and there's going to be somebody that's going to say something that's going to get you amped up and believe that he's going to be out there on Sunday, where I still feel like, it's more likely than not that he's not playing.
Yeah, 80-20, 90-10.
Yeah.
Rap Sheet, who I love Rap Sheet, friend of the program. It does feel like he's guessing on some of this, some of the terminology and verbiage that he and, like, guys like Albert Breer and company have used this offseason into this season. Kyler's so, quote, weeks away. He said that last weekend. Well, weeks, if you're going by that, well, weeks away isn't the next weekend. It's what we've talked about. It's Atlanta in week 10. What I do think is interesting, Bo, is we know, we've been told they want him to debut at home. Soft landing spot, make sure he can ease in. Atlanta's defense is playing better, but, like, Cleveland's defense, I know they're great with Myles Garrett. Like, they got lit up by Gardner Minshew last week. They should have lost to Gardner Minshew in Indianapolis last week. Deshaun Watson, like, may be done. Like, I wonder, and I don't know this, and I'll ask around, but, like, would they reevaluate the Cleveland situation? Let's say Cleveland goes into Seattle this weekend and looks like ass, which is possible.
Mm-hmm.
And that team starts to erode a little bit. It's PJ Walker. Defense is playing too many minutes. Like, do you think they'd reevaluate, like, their stance of, oh, we definitely want Kyler Murray to debut at home against the team that's got marginal defensive personnel? Because Myles Garrett's a game wrecker. He's the defensive player of the year. I mean, you could do your best, give him some extra help. DJ Humphries on the left side. I wonder if you'd rethink that.
Yeah, I mean, it really depends on the performance you get from the quarterback position this week, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
It's a
if
great
you have
point.
another down week, and what happens in Seattle, I think they're going to be certainly paying attention to that, and obviously how Kyler finishes out. I mean, if he's pushing the envelope, Wednesday, and he continues to trend that way Thursday and Friday, and they have to think long and hard about this weekend. I think that they're revisiting it probably on a daily basis.
Probably.
I mean, Jonathan Gannon, he's from Cleveland. It's a homecoming of sorts for JG. You don't think he wants to go and put on a good show, and he understands what quarterback gives his offense the best ability to do that. I think, it's not something he's rooting against. But like I said, this organization, there's very little of anything that's going to force their hand to just really kind of jump outside of what the plan they already have in place is.
Honey, Dobbs isn't fucking beating Cleveland, Johnny. Stop it. He's going to die. I don't want him to die. I want him to play well. But here's to my co-host's point. Like, the Dobbs regression is real, and it's impacting everything they want to do on Sunday. Like, they were losing competitive games. Like, the last couple of fourth quarters, it's just not been competitive. And then offensively, they have been one of the worst passing teams over the last couple of weeks. Like, can they endure 2 more weeks of that? If they lose this weekend to Baltimore and Josh Dobbs plays and he plays poorly, and does anybody expect him to light up a Baltimore defense that made Jared Goff look like a scrub, a practice squad player? It's going to be tough, even at home. So they have to be able to contextualize it and remove the temptation, because the temptation's got to be unbearable. When you see, can we see those highlights one more time, Damon Dog? When you see this playmaker on the practice field and Kyler Murray running around, throwing darts for the second consecutive week, moving well. I mean, that's got to be tempting as hell for this franchise to want to pull the trigger.
What did I tell you, though? What did I tell you last week? The temptation, it's going to be almost unbearable. It's going to be nearly unbearable for this team not to deploy him, right? But, they're going to harken back to what they feel is the right decision for the organization and its future. And they have really not, they haven't gone too far outside of that. If they've done that at all with any, I know, hang laundry on that thing. Look at them just step up, zip it across the field. And these are practice squad receivers. These aren't the Cardinals' top receivers. I'd love to just see, I hope the Cardinals media actually release some footage from practice that we don't get to watch, because this is just him warming up. Like, we haven't seen, when we hear from Izzy Wolfork that, he's primarily playing with the twos and he's operating against the first team defense. Like, we haven't seen what he looks like. We just haven't seen him take a snap, truly under center in 7s or 11s. Love to see it, because that's something that, we haven't seen, and it would be a big kind of, just kind of show where he is at this point in his rehab.
Brent makes a good point here. And while I don't think it's 100% slam dunk, if James Conner was back active and playing well, and the offensive line had a better showing, the temptation would be greater, because it's just we've got to finally tune machine, and then Josh Dobbs is just making errant throws, even though there's no pressure. To Brent's point, it's there's no James Conner until Atlanta, fair or not, right? DJ Humphries has regressed. Paris Johnson Jr. had a rare rookie outing last week. Kyler Murray would go into Baltimore and Cleveland. Who are you leaning on? It's probably K1 and Hollywood Brown, right? DeMercado. You just lost Zach Ertz, although I think Trey McBride's an upgrade. You're not doing anything well offensively right now to be able to say, well, Kyler, don't worry, we're going to hang our hat on this. This is what's been working. None of it's been working. You've been almost in the single digit scoring the last couple of weeks. Since the Dallas game, you're averaging under 14 points per game. So that's a concern. Now, I don't expect that to get better over these next 2 weeks if Kyler Murray doesn't play. I'm open to be surprised. But, I mean, you're going to back week 10, you're going to be able to saddle yourself with James Conner and Kyler Murray both returning to the lineup. And I think they want to do that. I think that they want to say, you know what, Kyler, even if you played this weekend, I'm sure it gives us a better chance, but we just can't risk you having to play hero ball out there. And that's what it is. And Josh Dobbs, man, he's such a likable guy. You talked to him at the press conference today. Just, it feels like, the other shoe, the glass slipper has fallen off with my man. And it's getting worse every week.
He's Cinderella?
Something. I don't know where I was going with
You
that.
said he turned back into a pumpkin a couple weeks
Yeah,
ago.
all
That was
the
less complimentary.
all the fairy tale, examples I can
The
have.
clock has hit midnight on
Joshua Dobbs, and from riches to rags, unfortunately.
But
I
he
love
still
Josh Dobbs, man.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I still get the feeling like he talked today like he's the starting quarterback, and I mean, maybe is it the ultimate smokescreen? I don't know. I mean, that this would be a true ramping up. Like put him back on the field a week ago today.
Yeah.
Had 3 practices under his belt. It was all hands on deck, getting him up to speed. Putting in extra reps to okay. This is week 2, and you got. I mean, it would be 6 days ultimately if he were to play on Sunday against the Ravens. And they would have to be 6 perfect days for the most part to make that happen.
Arizona Animal NASA is called. Dylan Richards, you guys think he was worth the draft comp 8 weeks in? I mean, come on. What they give up, a 5th or a 6th round pick for him? I think the Cardinals, we've talked about this, screwed up royally. Dobbs was always their guy. We had that back in March. They needed to get Josh Dobbs in the building 7 months ago. And then they probably beat the Giants and the Commanders. They probably are 3-1 to start the year. And then the drop off wouldn't be as bad because you've housed some early wins. But no, this team has 12 draft picks. They could have more. They could trade some people at the deadline. They could have more picks. So I see that right now. I'm just come on, guys. Who else was available? They put themselves in that position.
I will say definitively he was worth it. I mean, what were the other options? You're gonna play Clayton Tune. You weren't gonna move forward with Colt McCoy. That ended in Minnesota. That ended in a joint practice. His career was over.
Ended. His career ended.
He hasn't resurfaced outside of he's talking fantasy sports. I mean,
they screwed this up. And so that's why everybody can be critical about this Kyler Murray timeline. Open season. I love this franchise. This new regime has been great. There's been a couple miscues. They screwed up this quarterback timeline because if you knew for certain that Kyler was going to be out 10 weeks, okay, let's get a couple more hundies out here and let's sign somebody capable so we can evaluate Michael Wilson and Trey McBride and Hollywood Brown, because it's not just about wins and losses. How do you know if you're going to re-sign Hollywood Brown if you can't hit him in stride in pivotal games? How do you know if Michael Wilson is the heir apparent to Hollywood Brown and can play alongside Marvin Harrison Jr.? How do you know Trey McBride is the tight end one? That's bigger than just, we signed Jacoby Brissett to be competitive. It's all about evaluation. You can't evaluate people with Colt McCoy. And that was my argument in training camp, pointing around stupid shit like that. They did this to themselves. Again, they're going to rebound from it fine. It's not going to hamper anything they do long term. But what I will say is this. If I'm Kyler Murray, I'm probably a little upset that they didn't get a competent quarterback in-house in March, because that's cost this team at least 2 wins, in my opinion. Yeah. And if you don't shake your head at me, this is correct. It's cost them the Commanders game and potentially the Giants game. You're already out of the quarterback sweepstakes. Kyler Murray is safe and secure. Don't shake your head at me.
I'm not going to go Patrick Peterson on you, but he doesn't give a crap about how the team operated with another quarterback. He knows that he can control his own destiny by coming back and playing is what he's capable of playing. It's not, he doesn't, I'm sure he would have wanted the team to be more competitive, but he doesn't get lost in the weeds thinking about, well, if you guys just got a deal done in March, we would have been in a way better situation. I just don't think he wastes his time.
Well, the Cardinals brought on a lot of criticism on their own doing, like they always do, when you're trading for your franchise or your starting quarterback August 26th. They want to be a big boy button-up franchise, and I want that for them more than anybody. You hurt yourself publicly with doing that. That's not a good look. You agree with that, right? You don't ever want to be doing that, because basically what you're saying is all those reps we had in the offseason from April until now, really just those were wasted reps. You wasted that opportunity. You wasted it.
Not completely. Now you're
at the quarterback position. You did.
No, that's hyperbole. No, I mean there were guys. But I mean, there's a distinct difference. I mean, there was it obviously there's levels to it, right? There's, you know, 5th round rookie quarterback, there's veteran quarterback that you thought, hey, we'll see if he's got anything left in the tank. He didn't. We'll pivot. They bring in Josh Dobbs, and then there's, you know, hopefully Kyler Murray, like way higher level of play. Like you just see it. There's a difference the way he throws the football, puts it on receivers than there has been in that building since he went down on Monday Night Football against the Patriots way back in December.
I never bought the notion that, well, the Cardinals are spending X amount of money, so you can't go get a high performing backup that's going to cost you a little bit more. To me, it's just like, if it allows you to have a little bit more success this year for the guys in that locker room, I'm all for it. But no, Sensible Bo has not joined us. He hasn't joined this chat. Dylan Richards, I disagree with that vehemently. But
you're sitting there pointing and you're saying, yeah, I mean,
time has passed. It's too late for all that now.
Right.
Like, mistakes were made. Mistakes were made by everybody in-house. They made mistakes when they were talking to Jonathan Gannon on the phone that cost them their 3rd round pick. Like, they're learning on the fly. They're not.
Now, so what does all that tell you as you're sitting here on Wednesday of week 8 and you got the Ravens game on Sunday where they take these missteps? I don't think that they're going to err on the side of caution. I really get the sense that they are.
Yeah.
Okay, we're back on the same page. There you go.
I've never wavered that. I've told you that. You listen to me. Gosh darn it. All right. Is the Valley on the same page with Michael Bidwill? Maybe, maybe not. And is the Cardinal owner feeling some increased heat with the success? Congratulations, by the way, Arizona Diamondbacks bringing some good vibes to the Valley with their trip to the World Series. The Suns are an absolute juggernaut. They've been to back-to-back Western Conference. They went to the Western Conference final, and then they were in the semifinals 2 years ago, and then they were in the finals the year before that. Just, I mean, great vibes. Cardinals, it's time to catch up. Michael Bidwill, you are under the clock, my friend. In the meantime, you guys are all on the clock right now with our friends at BetMGM. Bet 10, get 200. Sign up with promo code PHNX. Place your first bet in the BetMGM Sportsbook wager. I got Bills tomorrow, money line. Bills money line right now with BetMGM. $10, I'm getting $200 free in additional winnings, regardless of the outcome of my wager. Again, download the app, Android or iOS, or you can go to betmgm.com and sign up with bonus code PHNX. Just take a 10 spot, you get $200, regardless if it wins or loses. You can save that, maybe put on the Cards money line this weekend. You want to dabble, it might be a good idea. Take something big with plus money. We're going to give you money regardless. Check out the show notes for full details. Now listen to my guy, Shane Diefenbach, talk about it in the disclaimer.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Colorado, D.C., Illinois, Indiana, Kansas, Louisiana, Maryland, Mississippi, New Jersey, Nevada, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, Virginia, West Virginia, Wyoming. Call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369 New York. Call 1-800-327-5050 Massachusetts. 21 plus to wager. Please gamble responsibly. Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP Arizona. 1-800-BETS-OFF Iowa. 1-800-270-7117 for confidential help Michigan. 1-800-981-0023 Puerto Rico in partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. U.S. promotional offers not available in D.C., New York, or Ontario.
Sun is shining here in the Valley of the Sun. Of course, you want to get that gear built to last. You want to look good as well. Do it with our friends over at Shady Rays Independent Sunglasses Company. World-class product, not for world-class price. It's not that expensive. It's well below $100 each and every pair of these durable frames, extremely clear optics, premium polarized shades for all your outdoor adventures. Check them out in Scottsdale, Kierland Commons. They've got a store out there. You can check them out. Tell them the promo code PHNX, and you get 50% off 2 or more pairs premium polarized shades from Shady Rays. You don't believe me? Check them out, shadyrays.com. Check out their full product line. They've got some great looking sunglasses. They're durable, as I said, and they've got a great replacement just policy. If you lose or you break your sunglasses, they will replace them, no questions asked, for years to come. That you are going to be in good hands with our friends over at Shady Rays. Figure out why 250,000 people are rating them 5 stars right now online. Go to shadyrays.com. Use that promo code 50 for 50% off PHNX for 50% off 2 or more pairs of premium polarized sunglasses at Shady Rays. Already seeing Johnny on our Twitter account, PHNX_Cardinals. People right now signing up to get themselves a pair of tickets to watch the Arizona Cardinals play in person this Sunday against the Ravens.
And they are great seats, by the way. I can't tell you definitively where they're at, but not the nosebleeds. Let's just call it, great seats to watch this team operate. And you can watch.
I believe they're club level. They usually are like 200 level.
Ooh, love that. Love all the vibes right now. Tight end 1, Trey McBride. QB 1. We'll wait and see this weekend. Don't wait. Get those tickets now. I teased it a little bit. First of all, Diamondbacks crushed it. World Series en route, NLCS, NL champions. And again, like Michael Bidwill, Bo Brock, is he under increased pressure, scrutiny? We talked about it, like everything that Matt Ishbia is doing with the Suns on and off the court, like construction of a new indoor facility, right? All the upgrades that they're making, the imprint. Like we're about Valley sports, Arizona sports here, PHNX, right? We want to see everybody get better, do better, increase like the level of what we consider to be quality sports here in Arizona. Is it time for Michael Bidwill to play catch up here? Because again, they're under the gun NFLPA grades this offseason. We got the article in The Athletic not too long ago about a toxic work environment. Cardinals now in a position, top 2 draft pick. Like, what do you think Michael Bidwill is going through his head right now, seeing all this success from these other franchises that are not his own?
Yeah, I hope I got it right. I hope I got it with right with the leadership that I've decided on, as far as Jonathan Gannon and Monty Ossenfort, because he spent far too long, a decade with the GM in place that I think he enabled to make really poor decisions as far as roster construction and worse as far as the facilities and how people are treated within that facility. Allegations of a toxic workplace. And, Keim was in that building for 2 decades, and there's going to be things that are going to come out and continue to probably leak out that are you don't want to hear about the team that you root for on Sundays.
Yeah.
And, when you see the difference between how Bidwill operates and how Matt Ishbia, who hasn't even been here for a year, immediately took over the Phoenix Suns. As soon as he officially took over that organization, they're making a trade for Kevin Durant, and then they're pulling off a trade for Bradley Beal, and then they're also committing to $100 million, practice facility. And it's great that the Cardinals probably aren't paying for food anymore. That's a step in the right direction, and they've already they've revamped their indoor practice facility, but they're still not keeping up with the Joneses as far as franchises that are really committed to winning.
It's funny. We've been in Phoenix just for a few years now. When I tell people, "Oh, you moved to Phoenix? What's that like?" It's fantastic out there. It is. This is a destination market, right? It's a different market than it was 10, 20, 30 years ago. This is a destination market, very similar to like what I believe Denver, Colorado has turned into. And I think we need to reevaluate like big markets for NFL franchises, sports franchises, and destination markets. And I think Phoenix is a place where people want to live. It's one of the top 5 fastest growing economies in the United States. And I think the Bidwills and Michael Bidwill need to wake up to the fact that, you will get passed by because serious people have moved into this territory, this region of the country, and are elevating this place, this city, this community, this state, right? And I think competition at the end of the day and pressure makes everybody better. I mean, when the Cardinals came to the Valley in the late 90s. I mean, the Diamondbacks had their run in 2001, but that was kind of an anomaly, right? The Suns were not good until far, far later, and their sustained success was kind of a flash in the pan. Then the Cardinals made the Super Bowl in 2008, 2009. You get a juggernaut like Matt Ishbia, what he's done with the Suns, and now the Diamondbacks are ahead of schedule. They are ahead of schedule. Regardless of how this World Series turns out, like Corbin Carroll and company are going anywhere? Hell no. So it increases the pressure of an owner to say, I look around, I don't want to be third seeded owner in my own town, in my own community. He loves being able to say, I host Super Bowls, right? He's very much a politician in that way. When your product is a failing, losing product, and not only that, your facilities are under fire, your leadership, your community is under fire, how you treat employees, you have to strip it down. And I believe that process has started. Ossenfort and company have come here. We're told Monty Ossenfort has full control of the football department. He doesn't answer to anybody else. Where maybe that wasn't always the case before. He's calling the shots. Do you think about watching that draft segment from last year and you see Michael Bidwill kind of sitting off to the side and Ossenfort's working the phones? He's not asking for permission for anything. Jonathan Gannon's not watching film with Michael Bidwill on Mondays. So it is different. They've got a ways to go, but I think they can expedite this rebuild, and they're on the right track to do so.
Yeah, here's the issue though. This is the very beginning of the rebuild. This is year 1. this is, Ossenfort and JG haven't been on the job for even a year. That'll hit around February after their first season together. And, they've done a lot of great work. And I think that they've already revamped a lot of the culture issues that were there just by being great, upstanding people and having their eye on what they view as a successful way to run a franchise. I mean, Monty Ossenfort's out there on the practice field every day. He's talking to reporters. He's talking to people who work for the team. He's talking to people on the roster, on the coaching staff, on the media relations staff, on just the training staff, whatever it may be. Monty Ossenfort is just being a good, upstanding person. And that's a good start. And that's a step in the right direction. But I think if you look at the Cardinals and you look at the Diamondbacks, there's some similarities as far as where they don't want to spend a whole lot of money. Like Chase Field, they have to decide before the game whether or not they're going to open the roof because it's a liability, right? You can't have people in Chase while they open the roof just in case, something goes awry while they're opening or closing the roof because they haven't maintenance it right. Damon, they haven't maintenance the roof enough in a long time because they were at odds with the city of Phoenix, weren't they?
Yeah, I think Phoenix owns the stadium, and that's a big point of contention.
So, but what they did get right was Mike Hayes and Torey Lovello, right? And the leadership and the people as far as leading the organization that way. And it's proven to get results on the playing field. And I think that at least with Gannon and Ossenfort, you've got a similar combo with the Cardinals and the football operations department. And, the Suns, people forget that it was 10 years of futility under Robert Sarver. I mean, they were an atrocious organization after being in the heyday.
And they made the NBA final. They almost won an NBA title.
But there was 10 years.
Right.
10,
for sure.
10 long years. And it was rebuild. This rebuild didn't work. Let's restart the rebuild. It's a rebuild. Then it's a rebuild. And then they finally got it right. Like the blind squirrel found a nut. They moved on to James Jones. He was the right decision as far as the GM. You just hope that you have the right people in place. I think that the Cardinals do, and they're making the right decisions, but it's going to be a process. And we still have a lot to figure out as far as Monty Ossenfort. I love what I've seen from Monty Ossenfort as far as taking on a rebuild and tearing it down and really starting to get the team trending in the right direction. But what's he going to look like when he's got cap money to spend? What's he going to look like when he's got true draft capital to go out there and spend? What's he going to look like? What's JG going to look like when he has a franchise quarterback? We're going to learn a lot about these guys that we don't have the benefit of just because it was such a mess from the previous regime.
Well, I'll do you one better. If they butcher this quarterback situation, if they move off of Kyler Murray, if they keep Kyler Murray, and it's a mistake, they'll get fired. That's the way of the NFL.
Yeah.
You won't be able to keep your job, especially in the NFC West with potentially 3 Hall of Fame level coaches. That's why this is such a pivotal, 6 to 12 month period. Han shot first. I think this is well said. Friend of the program. The fan base begged for a rebuild. We got it. Now it's taken time. Personally, I believe we have the right people in place. It appears Bidwill cleaned house and has stepped aside. Big win. Absolutely. And I think, again, it's easy to talk about a rebuild and draft picks and capital and money in June, July, August, and then the games start, and then this team is 1-6, right? And it's just man, I really wish we could get a win on Sunday. Absolutely. But it's tough, man. You just kind of take it in the teeth. But I mean, the Major League Baseball, I think of all the major professional organizations, is the toughest to rebuild and become quality fastest. The NFL, in my opinion, is the one you can turn over your roster in 18 months and you're back, baby. You're absolutely back. And that can be expedited with a couple things going your way, like having a franchise quarterback who hasn't been playing because he's on an ACL tear and he's back, right? Being able to parlay a top pick from last year into a future top pick plus some, trading down in the second round and getting a future third because the Titans foolishly wanted to trade up for Will Levis. You can parlay and accumulate assets. And if you hit on them, I mean, it can be a quick turnaround. The Cardinals, I'm very much in the opinion, Bo, if Kyler Murray's on this team in 2024, assuming they press the right buttons this offseason, it's not a disaster, they should be a playoff contending team next year. To win the NFC West, I don't know. But to be a 7 seed, a 6 seed right now, when you look at the landscape of the NFC, that should be the expectation of Cardinal fans. You pay a quarterback $52 million and you load up in an offseason and you're competitive this year, albeit in a 1-6 season. I want to see you win 9 or 10 games next year.
I think it would resemble what the Eagles were before 2022.
Yeah.
because Jalen Hurts was starting to find his game a little bit. As JG, Nick Sirianni's first year as at coaching staff, right?
Yeah.
And they were an opportunistic defense. That's what you're going to get here. You're going to get rock solid, solid quarterback play, and then you're gonna have some talented players that you drafted, you developed, and guys that fit the scheme of the coaching staff. And I think they went on to win like 9 games, right? They got hot at the end of the season, really emphasized the run, played defense, and forced turnovers.
They started 2-5 that year
Right.
too, and then they almost won out.
Right, but you would sign up probably today after watching a 1-6, 1-7 start of this Arizona Cardinals team. I mean,
because they'd be ascending too. Because what the Eagles do the next year, went to the Super Bowl.
They did.
And potentially going back this year.
That's because they were able to draft, develop guys, put them in the right scheme, and really kind of maximize their skill set. And then on top of that, and once they got that, like their base in, they're like, okay, we need this for the defense. We need an ass kicker, edge rusher. Okay, we're going to go spend on Hassan Reddick. He's available. Or, we're going to go spend, we're going to just continue to add
AJ Brown, trade for AJ Brown.
AJ Brown. You use a first-round pick on Jordan Davis and bolster your defensive line. Like
now, Bo,
things that are like pedestrian and good, and then they bolster them with adding caliber talent.
Well, why? In part, though, let's be fair. I mean, Jalen Hurts was the second rounder making no money. Cardinals are going to have to be a little bit more agile with that.
They have the financial wherewithal within the cap. Like, we know that if they move forward with Kyler, like, yeah, it's going to be a big $50 million cap hit, right? But they have a path to close to $80 million easily to spend this offseason, and the draft capital. Like, they're going to be armed absolutely as well as possible to expedite this rebuild, no matter what direction they go, if it's with Kyler Murray, without Kyler Murray.
DD $4.99, thank you so much. Super chat, friend of the program. Are there plans to bring back Tankathon Tuesday if we're 1-9 after week 10? Just joking. I think we'll do a throwback Tank Tuesday at some point. It's getting cooler, thank goodness, here in the Valley.
Get back in the lab. I need to work on the.
I know it's tough. You're too busy checking out Kyler Murray in the lab, which is where we appreciate you. We're going to talk about the Cardinals in the lab, the draft lab. ESPN put out a mock draft this morning that I think right now all of us can agree is best case scenario. I'm going to tell you what that is, but first I'm going to tell you about our fabulous new partner where we're going to spend every home game for the rest of the year. It's Gila River Resorts Wild Horse Casino, our new partner. They are flipping fantastic. We're going to be here. They are this Sunday. It's 25 minutes from where I'm sitting right now here in Chandler. Gila River Wild Horse Resorts. Myself, Damon, Britton Golden. We're going to have the pregame, halftime, postgame. Bo Brock's going to call him from State Farm Stadium. We are so fired up. Arizona's biggest and best resorts and casinos. They've got a ton of quality stuff going on. How about monthly drawings? November 5th, November 3rd, and December 3rd for Cardinal game tickets, memorabilia, free bonus play, prop cards for select football games, weekly pick'em, up to $1,000 in free bonus bets. It is a first-class place. This is Wild Pass Casino. $1 million cash. Sign up, Gila River Resorts and Casinos. $1 million Big Red Showdown. Again, visit GilaMillionShowdown.com to get on the action for more information. Again, check them out. All they have to offer. Come check us out this weekend. I cannot wait to hang out at the casino, at the sportsbook, watching some Cardinal football.
Also, we got to talk about our friends over at Empire Today. We love our friends over at Empire Today. You get to shop for home convenience for the right product for your needs. Quick professional installation, price match guarantee with Empire Today, the best place to get new flooring. So, of course, we've got all those copycats out there that can't match what Empire Today can do, can't beat their quality, their service, their speed, and they're not going to promise just the lowest prices, because anyone who does in putting in flooring in your home that they won't have to, that they can't compete with what Empire Today has. They've got, absolutely what you're looking for. Obviously, they've got the best value you can find, and obviously the quality product that you're going to want. Empire Today's virtual floor designer is a great way to see how new floors will look in any space. It's easy. Just snap a picture instantly and see how those new floors look in your room. Shopping for floors has never been easier with Empire Today. Don't go to those big box stores any longer. Go to Empire Today. Prides itself on being a convenient shop at home service. It'll help customers shop for floors where they use their floors and see exactly what their new floors will look like. check them out right now. Schedule a free in-home estimate today. Listeners can receive $350 off discount when they use the promo code PHNX. Restrictions apply. See EmpireToday.com/PHNX for more details.
I love this comment. Johnny Cash. Love Johnny Cash. Cardinals already have, I think, 2 premium picks in next year's draft. You bet they do. And ESPN, they put those picks to work today. You guys want to know who they were? I believe it's our friend Jordan Reed put together his new mock draft. 32 teams, and the Arizona Cardinals picking 2 and 16 in this mock draft. I'm going to guess this is probably best case scenario. I don't know how likely this will be. Fast forward to next April, but Mr. Reed had the Arizona Cardinals not taking Drake May 2nd overall, but instead taking Marvin Harrison Jr. out of Ohio State, but said, full disclosure, a disclaimer, the pick depends heavily on the play of Kyler Murray, which is what we talk about daily, who returned to practice last week after suffering a torn ACL last December. I could see Arizona considering UNC quarterback Drake May in this spot if they do decide to move on. Basically, allows the comparisons to Calvin Johnson to come into play with Marvin Harrison Jr. Harrison's range as a pass catcher and nuance as a route runner are unmatched in this receiving class. So, Again, it's what we talk about. Drake May is going to be that lingering cog right there as long as the Arizona Cardinals are in the top 3. And, I love that pick for the Cardinals, but I do think, Kyler Murray was taken over Nick Bosa once upon a time, but it was the right decision, in my opinion. You take the franchise quarterback. It's the same thing. It's like uber high-level position player that's not a quarterback that's a Hall of Fame trajectory, just so happens to also be from Ohio State. I mean, it's going to be the talking point of the offseason if they stay there.
It's going to be tough because when they need to make a decision on Kyler Murray, right, you're going to have to make the decision on Drake May without really the benefit. I mean, you'll have where he participates probably in the NFL combine before then. But Kyler, the decision has to be made like mid-May or mid-March. Apologies. Yeah. Mid-March.
That's enough time.
So, I mean, you got to decide what the pick's going to be if you're sitting at 2, if it's May or Harrison Jr. And like we've seen, like what Calvin Johnson can do, what these generational type wide receivers can do, what Larry Fitzgerald was able to do with this organization and the ham sandwiches he had at quarterback. And when you get good quarterback play, like it's gonna, you hope that Kyler Murray makes it a moot point and that they're in a prime position to take this guy Marvin Harrison Jr. because he's an elite. Like the quarterback at Ohio State's not that great, and he's out there catching 11 passes for 162 yards and 2 touchdowns. I mean, he's a quarterback kingmaker. Marvin Harrison Jr. is, and like to think about him and Kyler Murray, I mean, that's a bright future. And then to have another first round pick in the chamber, I mean, that's what gets you thinking about how this team can make a quick turnaround in 2024.
Now, their second first-round pick, which you alluded to, I don't know if this is likely, especially after his outing against Wisconsin last weekend. It's Jerzon Newton, somebody that we believe is the defensive tackle number 1. And typically when you're DT1, you go in the top 10. So that remains to be seen. But he said, we gave Arizona a receiver and Harrison at number 2, but let's continue to stack talent on this roster. With their second first rounder of the day, basically saying Newton is a versatile interior defender who has played every alignment during his career. So he's got scheme versatility. The tape shows him not only being able to penetrate the first level, but also a disruptive pass rusher. So again, it's not either or. Hey, he's great against the run. He can't rush the passer, or vice versa. He can penetrate from the interior, but he's going to get mulled over in the run game. He is the most complete defensive tackle. I think he's a step below, obviously, somebody like Jalen Carter a year ago, and I think that's probably a byproduct of where he plays and the fact that Jalen Carter was generational. This is a kid that you take him and you put him along your defensive line for the next 10 years. So I love this scenario for the Cardinals, and I think it's realistic if Houston starts to lose some games. I fear, though, Brack, if you're in the middle of the first round or, God forbid, below that, Newton's going to be gone for this club to pull the trigger on.
I mean, it's not the worst thing. I mean, I think he's a really good prospect, and he feels a need right away, and he immediately bolsters, but he helps out the rotation that severely needs help, right? I mean, can you see anybody, like if they don't move forward with anybody but Dante Stills, I wouldn't be shocked about it in this defensive.
That's crazy too.
It is
that's
crazy.
Insane.
It is crazy. It's a position that's that's down that they have to revamp, and that they didn't have the opportunity to do it, through this past draft and through this past free agency. I think if they get one guy via free agency and, a top draft pick and maybe one later in the draft, you're adding 3 players to a rotation that severely needs it. And like Jerzon Newton is absolutely the guy that you'd love to kind of kick that thing off. And then we haven't gotten to it. It's just a first round mock draft. But if you're sitting there at 3rd overall with or 2nd overall with your pick, you basically have another first rounder coming at 34.
Yeah. It's funny. Like this draft, I feel like if you could bet, and eventually we will be able to bet with our friends at BetMGM on draft props, it feels like a near lock that one of these 2 picks will be on line of scrimmage players. Like maybe in, different dimension reality, they go Drake May and like Keon Coleman or something like that, or they take Marvin Harrison Jr. and they take Kool-Aid at like 16. But man, it really feels like with Ossenfort and Gannon's DNA, like you're either getting one or both, an offensive lineman and a defensive lineman, especially like this draft. And we'll see it come to fruition this offseason when we're at Indianapolis for the combine. It's an elite tackle class, like probably 5 to 6 first round tackles. And while the edge rusher defensive tackle class is not as robust, there'll be guys sprinkled in, the back half of the first round. So it just feels like the Cardinals are so dependent on what they want to do defensively, interior pressure, which they don't have. And then offensively, if Kyler Murray's back, which we hope he is, you need capable protection. And DJ Humphries, in my opinion, the Cardinals probably have a foot out the door right now with what they've seen from 74, especially when you consider how much money he commands.
Yeah. I mean, the defense needs a lot of help, right? And the defensive line and in the secondary, I think, are the 2 needs that stand out the most, at least at the outside corner position. And then when you look at the offense, absolutely, when you're paying a guy, if you're going to be convicted about paying a guy $230.5 million, you're going to need, just not cheap, but controllable at a good value on the offensive line in other positions as well. So it's going to be an absolutely electric draft season for the Arizona Cardinals, no matter what they decide to do. I mean, they're going to have, what did we see? It was like, as far as top 5 pick, it's 88%, almost 90%.
Yeah, here it is. Damon Dog's got it. Let's take a look at that. The Cards top pick right here.
Look at that. Nearly 90% top 5, nearly 100% top 10 in a really stacked draft. And then you look at the Texans pick. I mean, it's a little, don't get too down on it, but around 16. And it's going to be, it still has a chance to be a top 10 pick potentially, and they can get a lot better through the NFL draft. And I see people in the chat saying, yeah, Monty, if he sees somebody he wants to trade up for, I'm sure he'll be aggressive. He's already proven in one draft that he's got a good finger on the pulse as far as when he needs to get up. Like when you talk about this tackle draft class, absolutely, Hunshutter, it is an elite running back class, and I think that they could possibly wait until the 3rd round to even address that. They've got 6 picks in the top 3 rounds, including 3 third rounders. Like that seems to be the money spot where you can get yourself a back, right? But when you look at this tackle class, it's not like Tyrannosaurus Rex arms, Peter Skoronski, is he a tackle, is he a guard? No, it's like you got 2 legit guys, and the kid from Penn State and Joe Alt just off the bat. Like you say, it goes about 6 deep. I mean, you could even wait.
A tackle from Bama that's mixed in there that I've seen mocked in the top 15. This franchise is building this new Cardinal squad, this 53-man from the inside out, and that's never been done before, and that should get you excited. Like it's been all finesse, no substance, all flash, no substance with Steve Keim, and really I love Rod Graves, but I mean that's kind of was his MO too. Like let's take a bunch of early round running backs, And
he was a GM that didn't watch tape, and he has one of the sickest draft classes like you'll ever see. Like the Fitz draft was unbelievable, right? Didn't have Fitz, and it had Darnell Dockett
and Carlos Dansby and Antonio Smith. Yeah,
it was unreal. But then after that, it was like it got worse and worse, and you didn't get to have as many impact players. But
Wisenhunt started picking the players not after too long, which was a problem if you're a fan of Adrian Peterson. Little Spooky, back-to-back super stickers. Thank you, Little Spooky. We're in spooky season. $5 and $1. Thank you so much for that. Michael Evans, $2 super chat. Gannon saying good in all three phases is total BS. I'm guessing that's in reference to having how they played or needing to play. I don't know what that's in reference to, Bo.
Yeah, and saying good in all three phases is total BS. Is he just talking about he just doesn't believe when Gannon's at during his press conferences and saying, hey, we can be good in all three phases, and you're seeing another L? Potentially. I don't know. A little spooky. Love the show, guys. You think that they try to have Kyler healthy and looking good so they can trade him at the deadline? No, I don't think that that's in play. I mean, that would be for the Arizona Cardinals to trade their franchise quarterback by the end of this month. We got basically one more game to go. It doesn't seem like that's part of the plans, but it's a good question. And then I saw this from Josh Weinfuss. Now you kind of scoffed at it, but I think that there's a little something to it.
Okay.
This is what he said as far as Kyler Murray being a full participant in practice today. He says, I was told that the process for him playing will be medical clearance first, followed by how ready he feels. So he still has a checkpoint as far as the medicals go that he's got to clear. And then he, of course, I'm sure from what you're hearing, Johnny, kind of marry these two reports, like he's chomping the bit. He's trying to force the Cardinals' hand into playing.
He is.
But, and Josh is saying, sounds like there's the chance for Murray to play this Sunday, but it just doesn't sound likely as of today.
No, it's what we've been saying all show. I think it's like kind of what we've been saying all week. Like 80-20, not going to play, but he's been ripping it up in practice, and he looks good.
Yeah,
and he's on the trajectory they want. Like you have taken it in the teeth these last couple weeks. Can you endure? Hypothetically, I want this team to win, but hypothetically, 2 more weeks of that. That's what we're about, like 20 days away from Kyler Murray playing a football game. In all actuality, I think they're gonna take their medicine and do that, is my opinion. Because again, like to somebody's point in the chat earlier, Kyler Murray could play this weekend and play pretty well, and the Cardinals could still lose by 2 touchdowns. So again, like why are you playing him? Are you playing him to win games? Are you playing him to showcase him? Are you playing him to just knock the rust off so you're better equipped for the second half? There's a lot of questions that need to be answered. I think the number one reason they will wait, and I could be wrong, we could be sitting here Sunday having a different conversation. I will celebrate being wrong on this. I think the number one reason they're going to wait is they've been patient this whole time. Monty Ossenford sitting in a room with Gannon and Ossenford, or with Petzine and Gannon, everybody else, Nick Rollison, saying, guys, we've waited this long. We got to gut it out for 2 more weeks because God forbid something happens. We're all going to tie our future, hopefully, to this young man. We need to set him up for success because he was not set up for success by the prior regime. So let's do right. Kyler Murray, I think, knows what's best for him. In a lot of situations, this may not be one of them. What's best for him is to practice for 3 full weeks and play the shitty Atlanta Falcons at home, I think is the best route for Kyler Murray. That's not great for this fan base that's won 5 games in 2 years. You got the Diamondbacks in the World Series. The Suns are a juggernaut. I'm sure people, let's go. We haven't talked about this yet. I want to touch on this quickly because you scoffed at the notion that I thought flight plan was propaganda by the team. I'm going to throw out there right now, go look around some folks around the Arizona Cardinal franchise and how they're treating this full participant practice today, and how I think that's what they want you to think, fair or not, to get you to go to this Baltimore game this weekend, which I don't think it's disingenuous. I just don't love the optics of that. If I'm a 10-year-old or if I'm a 12-year-old on Twitter and I'm seeing that, I'm just running to my parents, let's go to the Cardinal game this weekend. Kyler Murray's going to play. It's like, hey, can we just take a second here? He's had 6 practices. Let's be real. Let's be real.
Yeah. Those jerks over at the Cardinals organization.
No, I get it. You want people to be excited.
How dare they? How dare they? Who would put full practice?
That's not a lie, though. That's not a lie.
Promote their show. Who would utilize Kyler Murray being a full participant in practice?
It's on their injury report. Who would do that?
Though. Who would put
me? Because it's true. But are you a
propaganda machine?
Are there eyeball emojis on that? No, they're not. You come into this show and we give you stone cold hard facts that are true more often than not. So
yeah,
that Donnie says tickets are $10. Like I'm gonna tell you right now, Diamondbacks are in the World Series, and then the media machine over there in Glendale and in Tempe is like, you know what? Let's go. Let's get this ramped up. No one's coming to Cardinal game this weekend. We got to get some good juice going. I don't want to see a bunch of purple jerseys at State Farm Stadium.
You think somebody was in there, like the card, whoever's the head of the Arizona Cardinals propaganda machine? They got their pen in there. Just let's take this limited and just put it a little like you used to change the grades on your papers so your parents thought you were a good student. It's like, let's put limited and put full here and get everybody.
I don't think I'm not. It has nothing to do with the football people. Put the football people off to the side. It's just the Cardinals are trying to let's get excited. Kyler Murray could be coming back. No, he's not.
Look
He's
at
probably
Donnie.
not going to play for 2 weeks.
Saying we're fake advertising. We're part of the problem.
No, we're not. We're not part of the problem. I'm not on.
Look at this full practice.
No.
Look at that.
Go
right
find
on
me
your
the
timeline.
Go find me the tweet from me after he was a full participant for me wigging out about that. You can't find it. My tweet today said, "Here, I'm going to come on the show. We're going to tell you what this means. What this means is timeline is not changed."
Yeah.
Diamondbacks. I love the Diamondbacks. Turning up that heat over there in Glendale, over there in Tempe. Diamondbacks rebuild took about 5 minutes. Cardinals, you're on the clock, baby. Let's go. Clock's ticking.
Let's talk about trying to sell hope and actually getting results when you got that your little fuel gauge is that empty, Johnny, and you need to get some gas. The old Circle K, it's beaming like a beacon there off in the distance. Just pull your car in. And hopefully you're part of the inner circle. Save yourself some cash.
I am part of the exclusive inner circle because I'm elite and not at propaganda, but filling up my tank, baby, with my friends at Circle K. Cheapest gas, premium gas, not a premium price right now. It's America's thirst stop. And they've got that free sweet membership program. Save 25 cents per gallon on your first 5 fill-ups. Get every 6 free on the selection of Circle K. Pizza, coffee, ice cold fountain drinks. My family's not around. I don't know where they went. I might just go get my dinner at Circle K tonight. Somebody
get a slice of pizza, a couple.
Yeah, watch a little NBA action tonight. Yeah, right. It's down the street from me. Everybody knows my name. It's like cheers. They say, "Hey, Johnny, here's your ice cold Polar Pop unsweetened iced tea for your boy." Join Inner Circle for free by downloading the Circle K app today. Terms and conditions, they do apply. At participating locations, visit CircleK.com for more details.
You need to also check out more details about what's going on with this Arizona Cardinals roster, how the loss went down in Seattle. Our guy Howard Balzer, official beat reporter of the Cardinals, he's got his latest work. Go PHNX.com. Or you want to read about the Diamondbacks, you want to jump on the hype train, absolutely do that. Jesse Freeman's got a fresh article for you. Go PHNX.com.
The freshest.
Yep. And you got Craig Morgan churning out great Coyotes content, Gerald Brigade doing the Suns content as well. Go PHNX.com. Become a diehard today. Get full access to it. You're getting already about 90%, but you get full access. Become a diehard. Get in the diehard Discord. Get access to all the great things, all the great contests going on. Figure it out by becoming a diehard today. Go PHNX.com and PHNXlocker.com. You can use becoming a diehard to get a free hat or t-shirt like Johnny has on right now, the Bird Gang tee that we have right now in the PHNX locker. You can get for free.
It's one of my favorite t-shirts. I just got a text from somebody I trust in the gambling scene, and he said hammer the Carolina Panthers money line this weekend. If the Carolina Panthers beat the Houston Texans this weekend, the ripple down effect for the Arizona Cardinals is so significant. Not only does it help their draft pick with Houston, the Cardinals would then be tied for the first overall pick in next April's 2024 NFL draft. You're kind of scoffing at that. You're not buying it? You're not buying the Panthers this weekend?
It's like I'm bracing for impact because you know what that means.
What does that mean?
Number 1 pick in the draft right now is Caleb Williams.
Yeah, can we still root? I'm rooting against Houston. Let's root against Houston together. I think Carolina's good.
I'm all for that pick getting better, but also talk about ripple effects. That
you don't think they can beat you don't think they can beat the Ravens this weekend?
It's a matchup nightmare.
Notice how we haven't talked about the injury report with the Ravens and the Cardinals all week, because it's just at the end of the day, some things are bigger than the game itself, and that means Kyler Murray practicing is just as big. Everybody right now, I want you to go to Twitter, PHNX_Cardinals. Check out our free ticket giveaway for Ravens at Cardinals this weekend. We think club seats, 2 tickets on the house. All you got to do is follow the instructions, throw us a 5-star review, throw it up as a screen grab, or double dip, tag 2 friends, follow the account, and retweet. Again, we're giving out tickets on the regular, and I mean, goodness, we're in Kyler Murray's zone right now, so you could have 2 premier tickets to the hottest game in town, not named the Diamondbacks or the Suns, the Arizona Cardinals this weekend against the Baltimore Ravens.
DBacks aren't even playing on Sunday. Your Sunday is free.
Perfect.
Go out to Glendale and check out a game. There's 250 people right now watching the show. I mean, 1 in 250 chance, that's pretty good. And you can double your odds by rating and reviewing the show and improving that. I mean, that's pretty good. I mean, what's that? That's 1 in 125.
I had somebody ask me, what if I already rated and reviewed the show? And I said, go get your significant other's phone, go get your mom or your dad's phone, do it there, do a fresh review and send that. It'll work just as well. It'll work just as well. You guys are crushing it today. One of my favorite shows we've done in a hot minute. Dylan, you were the guy that just texted me that the Carolina Panthers are the juggernaut money line that we're going with. Bo Brack, we got a draft show dropping mañana. I'm excited about it. It's got a new Fab 5 we're talking about this week.
That's right. Does it involve any quarterbacks? You're, of course, going to have to tune in to find out, but it also has some pretty tasty prospects. We talked about one of the top tackles in this draft. We're going to talk about another one of those top tackles, another big-time playmaker that would look good in Cardinals iced out road white jerseys and the all reds, and, of course, the black jerseys as well. We talk about 5 new prospects tomorrow, and then a nice little mock draft that I think you're all going to love.
Cardinals are too good with their uniforms to be
Vegas, has anything changed as far as the full participant? Is the line changed at all?
Would you like me to tell you what my friends and your friends and all of our friends at BetMGM had the Arizona Cardinals this weekend? So the opening line was 8.5, which I thought was pretty generous to the Cardinals considering the Detroit Lions just got worked, but obviously Baltimore's not the same team on the road. As of right now with our friends at BetMGM, line is the same, 8.5. Vegas knows. Do you know to subscribe to the PHNX Cardinals podcast wherever you get your podcasts? We are almost to 20,000 subscribers here on the old YouTube. Subscribe to PHNX Sports. Drop this video a like. Let's get this video to 300 likes. If we do that, we'll have a celebratory audio-only podcast tomorrow night. You can't get anywhere else. He's Bo Brack. I'm Johnny Venerable. Thank you, guys. We'll talk to you on Friday.
We all silly like the mayor.